I've mentioned this a couple of times already, and it's not really all of the focus of what we're doing, but one of the things that is, of course, really important, excuse me, in young adulthood is educational experience, going to college, and all the things that happen when we go to college. And so within this MIT project, there's some work done there and some information about what it means to be a part of a college experience and how that seems to change us and what's involved there. So we're going to look at that just a little bit here. Um, you can see there that this is entitled Challenge and Support in Education and in Work. As we know, for anybody to grow and develop, we continually deal with that balance of challenge and support, trying to figure out how much do we challenge someone and how much do we support them, how much do we treat them like an adult, and how much do we still kind of treat them like they're a kid. And so here are just some different things and some different factors that come into play there. First is interaction with teachers and other adults. We've known for a long time that teachers are important. From the time you begin to be taught by your parents to when you go to kindergarten or preschool or something like that. Interaction with teachers and other adults for a young adult, for a just barely post-adolescent person, is of course a really significant factor. One of the things that happens very often in college is that we begin to kind of identify people that we kind of have mentoring relationships with. That happens a little bit in high school. But it seems to happen a little bit more in college because in college we tend to find those people that don't just like us, but people who are in the career that we want to be in, people who are doing the thing with their life that we would like to do with our life, and we begin to those people become more serious models and mentors for us. Diversity of peers is really significant also in terms of mostly challenge. Most people experience diversity as kind of one of those challenging things. And so if you think about challenge and support, if you send a young adult to college or you create an experience in college or work for a young adult, it's important that not only is there some type of, excuse me, let me start my timer here so I know what I'm doing. It's important that we not only give them some experiences that increase their diversity and challenge them some, but you don't want to necessarily take an 18-year-old and throw them into a place where they don't have any people that they see as like themselves. So some level of challenge and support, even within diversity, is good. Yeah, it's you know you don't want to take a middle class. It's not optimal, I guess I would say, to take a middle class white kid and send them to a college where everyone at the college is a middle class white kid. They'll probably do okay, but they won't grow a lot. They need to come in contact with some people that are different than them. On the other hand, you don't want to just overdo it in the other direction either. There needs to be a balance there. Interdisciplinary and integrative experiences are important. We're doing some integrative and interdisciplinary stuff here. We have people who are in ministry, people who want to be therapists, people who are going to be teachers, all kinds of different things. It seems to be important and valuable to young adults that they have the experience of learning how one thing connects to the other, how philosophy connects with psychology and connects with education and connects with theology and connects with science at some point. And all those different things seem to help us mature and become more healthy adults where we can integrate things, integrate disciplines, integrate ourselves, learn that, for example, that our intellectual self and our faith self can coexist and should coexist, shouldn't be compartmentalized and held in separate places. Out of classroom experiences are really important for all of this to happen. We know that in college, you tend to do best when you have some contact outside of class with faculty members. And peers also, but particularly outside of class contact with faculty members, even if it's just going to Dr. Swinson's house and eating hamburgers like we did last week or the week before. That's even that tends to help us do better in a college experience and grow more. Because you know that if we do something like that, we sit around a table and we visit and we talk with each other. We meet each other's spouses and kids and all of those kinds of things that help us grow, that challenge us a little bit because we are involved with people that are new and different to us, but also help us to feel secure and to feel a part of something. So out of classroom experiences are really, really important. That's more true with traditional age college students than it is with 25-year-old or 40-year-old graduate students, but it's still important. The next last thing on that list, instruction and cognitive skills, may seem kind of strange to have on here, but basically what that means, if we put that into common language, is that in the young adult time period, whether you are in school or in work, one of the things that is supposed to happen is that you're supposed to learn how to think better. You ought to be, again, challenged and supported. You ought to hear ideas that you haven't heard before. You ought to have experiences that you haven't had before. You ought to have some teachers that challenge you with things that maybe even upset you a little bit, make you a little irritated, make you a little angry. I tell students in the honors program when I'm doing recruitment that when they take my freshman class, if they're not sometimes irritated with me, then I'm not teaching them very well. And I really think that's true. I think that we need to do things to help young adults learn how to think better. Some people learn that in college and in high school and learn it really well. Some people, particularly, and this may be a little surprising to some of us, some people that have had really good homeschooling experiences know how to think really well. And that may seem a little counterintuitive, but sometimes it's true. Now, sometimes you have homeschooling experiences and you don't learn to think very well, but sometimes you do. Some of the smartest, best thinkers I've had in my classes have sometimes been kids who were homeschooled. Because they had parents who used a good curriculum, or they had some kind of consortium where they did some, worldview kinds of work and that sort of thing. But we try in college to help young people learn how to think better, how to think differently. The last thing on the list there is scaffolding. And you probably know what scaffolding is, but scaffolding is the notion, like a scaffold that you would build on the side of a building or to do construction. Scaffolding is the notion that if there's one step above me that I can reach, then that's the way that I learn. I don't learn by going from the bottom to the top in one step. The way I learn is by adding one small level to where I am. One level that I can then reach, and then when I reach that level and I get settled there, then I can add one more level. We do that in lots of ways, but one of the ways we do it is by having students work together. People who work together typically do scaffolding, because you have someone in a group, for example, who's maybe better than you at something, or a little bit smarter than you in some area, or has some knowledge that you don't have. And then within a group, you probably also experience that there's someone who doesn't quite have the skills that you have. One of the ways I explain it sometimes is if you play a sport, an individual sport like golf or tennis or handball or racquetball or something like that, you tend to do best if you play with somebody just a little bit better than you are. If you play with someone that's not as good as you are, you don't get any better. If you play with someone who's just light years ahead of you, if I played golf with Tiger Woods, I probably wouldn't be any better because of that experience, because Tiger's in a different universe than I'm in. But if I play golf with my good friend Steve, who shoots about 10 strokes better than me almost all the time, I tend to move up to his level a little bit. And because I'm close enough to him, I don't drag him down. So scaffolding is the notion that we put people that are kind of close together but have some differences in abilities, and let them kind of push and pull each other kind of up the ladder of learning. So we're going to stop there and come right back.